Hello, I'm Dylan.
And I'm Keon.
And this is Triple Play, that podcast where we're Sigourney Weaver and we keep coming back for that alien money. Because this month we watched Alien Resurrection.
Written by Joss Whedon, of all people.
Directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
And released on November 26th, 1997.
Nice, after we were born this time.
First Alien movie to be younger than us, I guess. Not I guess, I mean it is, so.
Yeah, it's pretty much factually younger than us.
Just like how this movie is pretty much factually
False.
decent.
I already knew what you were going to say before you finished that sentence, and it's false. So with some background, we watched this separately, and we've been arguing this entire week over whether this movie is good or not.
Not so much arguing, it's basically just been me being like, yeah, it's pretty good, and you being like, no, it's pretty bad.
I mean, that's basically an argument. Although with no factually backed up arguments, just, it's the juvenile form of arguing where it's like, I'm right, no, I'm right, no, I'm right.
Yeah, but there's almost nothing factual you can say about a movie. Well, unless you're talking about behind the scenes and release information and like maybe some of the technological stuff.
When you can factually talk about how much budget it had.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't factually talk about how well they used that budget.
But anyway, we should probably explain why we watched Resurrection, even though, well, I guess, because we watched the original Alien trilogy, obviously, for the
episode that this is attached to, basically.
Which I guess isn't really a trilogy because of this movie, but it was supposed to be
like a trilogy,
ended with Ripley dying.
It feels like it was a complete trilogy, and then this one was the shameless cash grab.
Yeah.
Though Alien 3 was also kind of a shameless cash grab, as was Aliens, although to a lesser extent.
Well, Aliens to a lesser extent because it was turned out to be a better movie than Alien 3.
I mean,
it was still conceived as like a cash grab. Then again, like every movie is made to make
Aliens
money almost.
Aliens was also less of a cash grab because Alien, while it did succeed, wasn't like a massive multi-billion-dollar earning movie. You know, it made a profit, but it wasn't like it wasn't a shoe-in for a sequel immediately.
I guess.
Whereas Aliens kind of did.
Yeah.
At least from what I can remember from a month ago when we were...
Well, another reason why I wanted to bring up why we decided to watch this is because, well, there's two new Alien movies, which are prequels.
Yeah, Prometheus and Alien Covenant.
So if we hadn't watched this, we could have watched those two as a trilogy with this, even though that doesn't really make sense.
Any sense. And also, there's supposedly they were going to make a third movie, a third prequel, which would make it a trilogy, which we could do on the show. So...
I mean, it's probably going to happen, even though apparently the second one bombed.
Yeah, Covenant didn't do so well at the box office like Fox had hoped. And it's mainly because, while it was a good movie, all the Alien fans were like, wow, I really hate this religious symbolism that Ridley Scott is putting in these movies. And I was just like, man, I just liked the movie.
Weren't people going on about the religious symbolism, even going as far back as Alien?
I mean, yeah, but it was never as prominent as Scott made it in Prometheus. Like, Prometheus is like really obvious that he's trying to retcon the Alien franchise into being a story about a god creating something, creating a species. So, but that's a story for another podcast.
That's not so much a retcon as like maybe a reveal about the universe that people don't like because...
Yeah, so that's the thing. People feel like it's a retcon, I guess, because they don't like it necessarily, but also because all Ridley Scott had to do to make it a proper reveal was actually make it so that the timeline works out, but you messed that up in Covenant by introducing a very slight timeline issue. So, because, you know, in Alien, it's revealed that alien, not the xenomorph, but the alien in the ship has been there for hundreds of years because it's fossilized, and it's implied that an alien burst out of that and laid all the eggs in the basement.
Yeah.
And then Prometheus, Covenant, which supposedly shows the origins of the xenomorph, explicitly takes place too close to Alien for an alien to have fossilized over in the original. So Ridley Scott really needed someone like Ian Levine there to tell him the continuity he was dealing with. But whatever. Not that they really cared about continuity making Alien 3 or this movie, so... This movie feels like it took the continuity and was like, screw that.
Well, I mean, not really. There were a lot of questionable choices in this, but I don't think anything really messed with the continuity.
This entire movie was based on questionable choices to me.
Yeah, me too. And all those questionable choices were ones that I enjoyed.
So you fell on the good side of questionable. I fell on the bad side of questionable.
Didn't like that one thing at the end, but we'll get there. That one.
But that was like the whole basis of the movie, so I don't understand how you can like the movie but not like that.
I liked all the other
alone.
cool things, like the android reveal, swimming aliens. I like the pregnant queen. That part of it. I didn't like it. Yeah, we'll get there. We should probably start at the beginning. I don't think we're gonna go too in depth on the quote unquote plot. But basically,
there's no plot.
Basically, it starts a couple hundred years after
200, I think,
something like that. So I guess sort of playing into that alien thing where the next movie is like a large amount of time after the last one.
Well, also, Ripley's dead.
Yeah,
so.
Ripley's dead, and some scientists have decided it would be a good idea to try and resurrect the alien, because apparently Ripley took the last alien out with her, which I think was mentioned in Alien 3.
Yeah.
They decided it would be a good idea to bring the aliens back to study them, I guess.
Yeah, so this is where we get the first throwaway continuity thing, is that the company doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, really? I didn't get that. I know
This
they mentioned
the
Wayland
company.
Yutani right at the beginning, but I wasn't really paying much attention to the dialogue in that
Yeah, no,
part.
the company's dead. This isn't even the company. And that was the moment I was like, I'm not going to like this movie.
But, like, what is that? Why is that a bad thing, though? It doesn't really have anything to do with the movie.
Well, because...
Other than that they were then building up the company.
Yeah, they were building up the
away.
company. And
but
everything
I didn't like the company to begin with, so...
in this movie is what the company would do and what they were implying the company was doing without showing it. So it would have made, to me, more sense to actually have the company be the ones to resurrect Ripley, especially since the company presumably was the one who was there on, Fury 161 and actually got Ripley's blood samples.
Can't believe you remembered the name of that planet.
Fiorina Fury 161, come on.
I don't think I ever even knew it, but anyway. Yeah, it would make sense for it to be the company, but I never even really liked, as I mentioned when we were in the previous episode for this, I didn't even really care for the idea of the company anyway, so I didn't really care.
But I mean, the whole point of the company was to be a villain that would do something like this and genetically experiment on aliens.
Yeah, so it was kind of weird that they kind of just threw it out, and that it was just a random throwaway line of dialogue that I didn't even pick up on, so...
Yeah, these are the United Systems Marines. Also, apparently the United States doesn't exist now because it's the United Systems Marines, so...
It's way far in the future, even though I think the U.S. existed in Aliens.
Yeah, in Aliens it was explicitly the U.S. Marines as in United States Marines.
And this is like, not more than 400 years after that.
Yeah.
That's 400 years is a long time, so...
Also, this is another questionable decision that I just don't really care about at all, but I want to bring up...
Why are all the sets brown?
The name of the ship is the USM Aruga, but USM doesn't really make sense because it seems like it would stand for United Systems Marine, but why would you name your ship the United Systems Marine Aruga?
I don't know. What is that?
Like, why wouldn't you slap an S on the end? Because there's the USS Nostromo or whatever it was called, which United States ship. Most ship names have an S at the end to say ship, but the Aruga didn't. That's all I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
I said, I didn't really care that much. I just wanted to bring it up.
All right.
Because I thought it was interesting.
All right. Anyway, they succeed. They bring back Ripley.
Mostly.
It takes a couple times, and there's still some major problems with this clone. So one of the scenes at the beginning is them dissecting the Ripley clone and extracting the...
Not really dissecting, because I think dissecting as a word implies that they killed them.
No,
more like cutting open.
It doesn't imply that dissecting doesn't imply that you killed whoever you're dissecting. It just means you're completely cutting them open.
Dissecting also implies that they will be dead when you're done.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, they're just, I guess, performing an operation to get the...
Kind of like a C-section, but not really.
Yeah, I guess that's what it's supposed to be, since the stuff that happens at the end happens at the end. So
there's a guy, one of the scientists has like a ponytail, and at first I didn't realize it was a ponytail, so I thought he was just an android with something sticking out the back of his head, and then it wasn't until later, because the lighting was so bad in the first half of the movie, it wasn't until later that I figured out that it was a ponytail when he actually stood under a damn light bulb for once.
I figured it out like in the scene where he was performing the operation, but whatever. But yeah, honestly, I was kind of wondering who was an android and who wasn't, because I kind of thought they were going to go for like one of them's an android, because they always do. So,
well, they didn't in Alien 3.
well, they didn't in Alien 3, but Alien 3 was trash, so that's why I didn't have any androids in it.
Oh yeah, that was the reason why it was trash.
One of many, but yeah, I wonder why the scientists all acted more like robots than the actual android in this.
Good question.
Even this had religious imagery and stuff, like the scene when the android has a cross necklace and there's the lights form a giant cross behind her head.
Yeah, but that's not like the basic plot of the movie.
No, it's not. It's just saying it's there. And it's really not that subtle.
Anyway, for no readily apparent reason, the general decides to keep Ripley alive.
I think they were doing that. They were planning on doing that, but they just completely failed on the other experiments, which is why they were sort of semi-alive and some of them were dead.
But the general's dialogue implies that standard procedure would be to kill Ripley. Now,
you're right. I forgot about that. Yeah, they do decide to keep her alive.
Once again, for no readily apparent reason.
Well, I mean, I guess it was part of the plan that if they got the alien out successfully, they would kill whatever they got it out of.
Yeah.
But then they're like, no, let's keep her alive.
For why?
I don't know. Maybe to just see. I guess
so going back to that whole no readily apparent reason.
I guess it was because she had some amount of not knowledge, but like she like the aliens was maturing really fast, and she had some previous memories from Ripley's life.
Well, I thought that she matured fast because it was part of the cloning process. They immediately aged her up to be adult, kind of like episode 2, The Clone Wars.
I guess, maybe, but...
Later on, they decided to keep her because they discovered that she has super strength, but anyway.
But I think they decided to keep her because of her weird development and how she has, like, Ripley's memories for some reason.
Yeah, okay, so they come up...
Some of Ripley's
They come up with some
memories.
sort of BS reason why she has Ripley's memory, like, oh, the aliens have, like, genetic memories, so Ripley's memories are contained in her genetic code, and I'm like, honestly, you didn't even need to explain it, you should have just rolled with it.
Yeah. Anyway, the Ripley clone is, like, messing things up, and...
Well, not really. She's just like, who am I? Why am I here? Because I guess the implication of her having Ripley's memories is that she doesn't get them all at once. They're, like, coming to her slowly, so she doesn't realize who she is yet.
Yeah.
And then another ship appears for, once again, no readily apparent reason except to sell some things.
Yeah, these were the mercenaries.
The Mercs. And we've got... I don't remember any of their names.
Yeah, they were kind of like the budget versions of the cast of Alien 1, almost.
One of my big problems with this movie, honestly, was the fact that I remembered nobody's names except Ripley.
The characters weren't really defined at all. It was pretty much just Ripley and the android girl whose
name I don't even remember either. So
I don't remember the Alien 1 characters' names either, but
I remember some of them. Like I remember Hicks from Aliens, but the first one had... Man, I was thinking about this while I was watching the movie because I was thinking like, oh yeah, Alien 1 had blah, 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 and then now I can't remember the names at all.
No, but the thing is, the names don't even matter. It's just it's more remembering the actual character that matters, because when you think about Alien 1, you go like, oh yeah, okay, there was Yaphet Kotto's...
That was Bishop. No, that was Aliens again.
Yeah, so you remember like, yeah, there was Yaphet Kotto's character who was like intent on killing the alien. There was the girl who was... really scared, and then there was John Hurt's character who obviously like died.
Dies.
Well, they all died, but he died first.
Ash, that was the name of the android in the first one. Because there is actually a naming scheme to the androids. The first one is Ash, and the second one is Bishop. It's A, B, and I actually know the name of the android in this one has a name that begins with C.
That's interesting.
And then Prometheus.
Not that interesting though.
And then Prometheus, which is the next movie that was made, the android's name begins with a D, so he continued it at least. So. Anyway,
cool, I guess. But
it's just kind of an attention to detail thing, I guess.
But basically what I'm trying to say is that even if you don't remember the characters' names from Alien 1, you can still think back to Alien 1 and remember the distinct characters that it had, whereas for this, the characters weren't really all that distinct or even that interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
100% on that. I mean... the thing is
I
that...
like the cripple guy.
Well, that's cool. What I was going to say is that you do remember the characters in this, but you don't remember them for their character traits. You just remember them because of their physical appearance. So there's the cripple, then there's the the black dude who has the guns attached to his hand, and then there's
Jane from Firefly.
There's Jane from Firefly, and then there's the general who's got not the general, but the leader of the Mercs with the army haircut, and then there's the android.
Yeah.
So they arrive to sell.
Yeah, I kind of forgot.
People?
I remember I watched this like a week ago, and I was wondering why they were there. And then I had this realization in the middle of the movie, which was like, oh, that's why they were there. But I don't remember what it was.
They were selling... I don't know how they had come by people, but they were selling like cryopods with people into the station, and the station had used them to impregnate them with aliens.
Yeah. That was a reveal in like the middle, I guess the middle of the movie.
Well, it's revealed that they're selling the cryopods when they get there, but it's not revealed why until later.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they get searched for weapons really poorly, I might add.
Yeah. As someone who's worked in security, I guess confirm that they do a really crappy job of searching them.
So Ripley's playing basketball.
We get this scene. I really liked this scene because of how stupid the scientist was. I think this might be actually a little later, but I want to describe it now because of how dumb the scientist is.
Rest easy while you explain this.
The alien has matured already, obviously, because the alien matures super fast. And it's behind this, it's basically in a cell that it can't get out of. And one of the scientists, the head scientist actually with the ponytail, comes in to check up on it, and it's looking at him, and he's staring back at it, and he sort of taps the glass and taunts it, and he's like, haha, can't get me, you little freak. And then
before you continue, don't forget about the really weird thing he does where he acts like he's kissing the alien through the glass. That was really weird.
Yeah, no, because he's about to do that because the alien extends its face tongue thing, I forgot what they're called, but does that, and he sort of licks the glass in response, and then
he acts like he's kissing it. Yeah. That's what's happening.
It looked more like a lick to me.
It looks like a kiss. I think you should go back and rewatch it. It feels pretty obvious to me.
Yeah, I don't know. But then he blasts the alien with whatever they use to subdue
like
the
liquid
alien.
Nitrogen, I guess.
Yeah, something like that. So, kind of an idiot, this guy.
Yeah. And the only point of that scene is to demonstrate that the aliens are caged up and that there's liquid nitrogen in there.
And that the scientists are way in over their heads.
They're not really in over their heads, more like they're just really dumb. Because they clearly understand genetics and they clearly understand the aliens. They just make really stupid decisions.
I don't think they really understand the aliens, because if Alien 1, well, not Alien 1, but if Aliens and Alien 3 are any indication, anyone who sort of interacts with the aliens, other than Ripley, doesn't really understand the aliens.
Well, I mean, they're doing a way better job of containing the aliens in this movie than they ever did before. So they've got that going at least.
It all goes to hell pretty soon.
Well, yeah, because it turns out the aliens are smarter than the scientists, but we're not there yet.
Which it always does. It's like Ripley's the only one in this franchise who actually is smarter than the aliens.
And even she kind of wins through blind luck sometimes, especially in the first movie.
I was about to say, she's actually not, she's probably just slightly not as smart as the aliens, but is just a lot more lucky than the aliens. Poor aliens, honestly.
I don't feel any empathy for the aliens, pretty much ever. I
mean, I did for this entire franchise until they tried to force it on me at the end of this movie. Actually, that's not true. I started feeling for them in Aliens. And then this movie just dashed all of that, I guess.
Well, I started feeling it for them in Alien 3 because I was like, man, it really sucks to be in such a bad movie.
No, but I think I mentioned this when we were watching Aliens and probably in the last episode too, is one of the things I actually did really like from Aliens is how you started to feel for the aliens because they were just trying to, not breed, but they were trying to expand their species, which is like what every species does.
Yeah. So Ripley's playing basketball and the Mercs come in and the head guy.
They taunt her. It's not Ripley, it's the Ripley clone. Gotta make that distinction.
Ripley 8. And yeah, the head Merc's taunting you and is like, come on, let's play. Now, the head Merc is played actually by someone whose name I knew. I immediately placed who the actor was when I watched the movie. But now that I'm talking about it, I cannot remember for the life of me who it is. And I'm going to look it up now because I know it's the same guy who plays Hellboy.
Hellboy from the Hellboy franchise.
Yeah, the Hellboy franchise, that really successful franchise. Come on, who was it?
It is actually, isn't it a pretty successful comic book?
Yeah, Ron Perlman. That's who it was. I immediately placed who that was. Anyway, so he's like taunting her, and she like kind of beats him up with the ball.
She busts out the moves.
Well, she beats him up with the basketball, and then she makes an over-the-head backward shot. Now, here's a fun fact for you. That's not faked. Sigourney Weaver actually trained for 2 days with a basketball coach to make that shot, and she could make, she said, about 1 in 6 shots like that, and they came in on the day, and on the first take, she made it. And apparently, when she makes it, Ron Perlman broke character and turned to the camera and went, "Oh my God." But the editors, there was enough of a delay before Ron Perlman did that they were able to cut it right there so you didn't see it. So I thought that was kind of a fun little anecdote.
Anyway, the aliens get out.
Well, okay, so the aliens are pretty clever about this, although it's immediately undermined by something later, which I'll talk about later. But they kill one of their own so that the acid blood leaks through the floor and they escape. Actually, I'll talk about what undermines it.
You're going to say that the aliens have never...
No, I was going to say...
they killed one of their own?
No, I was going to say that later in this film it's revealed that the aliens can spit acid, and there's no reason for them to kill one of their own when they can spit acid.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, but there's also the thing, and I actually noticed this before too, but it kind of undermines, or I noticed when I was watching it too, but it kind of undermines aliens with having the aliens just kill one of their own. I still liked it. I thought it was a cool and clever thing for them to do. Yeah,
so did I, but I felt like it was undermined by the fact that later on they explicitly showed an alien spitting acid, and at that point I was like, wait a minute, so why did they kill one of their own when they could have just spit acid at the gloss and just busted it through?
Maybe that one was just a sadistic murderer.
Maybe, but the scientist panics and he's like, "Oh no, what are we doing?" And so the Marines, because this is a Marine ship like we said, the Marines also get killed by the mercs, who are apparently way better soldiers than the Marines. The guy bounces a bullet off of the ceiling like...
Oh, yeah. That scene was pretty funny, actually.
I mean, I was just like, this is just absurd. Also, I don't know if you noticed the Dimensions in Time style directing shots where it would zoom in on someone's face and then keep moving around their face sideways and then zoom out. I was like, why? Why?
You don't like that?
No, I hated it.
I love that.
No, I thought it was garbage. It's a really bad directing technique.
Yeah, see, this is why we're not going to agree on this movie, and this is actually something I think that C.S. Lewis said to J.R.R. Tolkien, or the other way around, because both of them writing fantasy, obviously, and neither of them really agreed on what kind of fantasy they should, well, not that they should write, but they didn't write the same kind of fantasy, basically.
Yeah.
And I forget which one of them said this, but one of them said to the other, when they were arguing about something, he was like, "Don't you see that we're seeing the same thing in this story? We're not seeing two different things. It's just that the things that you see and say you don't like are the exact same things that I see and say that I love."
Yeah.
Which I guess is what's happening here too. And what's probably happening most times, people don't agree about movies or books or whatever they decide to disagree on.
Yeah, I guess, but I feel like there are some things that a lot of people can agree on. Like if someone's like a really, really bad actor, and I'm talking like Tommy Wiseau in The Room here, like I think it can be pretty much universally agreed, like, hey, that acting's pretty bad.
Yeah, there's obviously general consensus on things, and there are things that the majority of people are going to like, and there are things that a majority of people are going to dislike. But there's never like things that are 100% like either objective or that are going to be 100% agreed on by everyone. So
probably, yeah. So aliens escape. Ripley meets up with the mercs and kills one of the aliens that kills one of the mercs, and the mercs like, well, I guess we're going to keep her because we need all the help we can get now that one of our own has died.
Yeah, and basically they're what they're trying to do for the rest of the movie is get onto their ship.
We also forgot the scene where the android comes and talks to Ripley and is about to kill her, and Ripley it's like, "Are you going to kill me?" And she's like, "Well, that's what I came here to do, but I'm not going to kill you."
So the android is an inside agent supposedly working for the mercenaries. We don't know if she's an android yet.
There's another for no good reason thing, which is that all the doors are
shut.
All the doors like verify who's opening them through their breath.
Oh yeah, that was kind of cool.
Another for no good reason kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, so, but I feel like
not everything has to be like for a
No, but
reason.
but this feels like it goes against the Alien franchise, which is always built up like the doors are all mechanical or they're all just open by keys or electronic locks, like introducing like breath locks. First
It's a
off,
couple hundred years after. So
first
I don't
off,
really
while
find
kind
it
of
a big-
cool, like doesn't seem like where the alien technology tree was going. It seemed like where they were going was going to be like biometric hand locks instead of breath locks.
Yeah, but even Aliens sort of destroyed where it seemed like the technology from Alien was going. So, like,
I mean, it's difficult to say where the technology was going in one movie. It was kind of a combination of Alien and Aliens that
not really
set the
One
trajectory.
of the things, that's one of the things I mentioned in episode 15 is that not really, because that's one of the things I disliked about Aliens. But I guess here I'm defending it because it's a couple hundred years later, and it's more similar to Alien, the best movie in this franchise.
I mean, also kind of why did the android break through the lock by just having a can of breath instead of, doing what the android would do, which is hack into the lock electronically? That's not something you kind of think of until later, so it doesn't really
Until
ruin
later
them.
when she hacks into the entire ship's
Yeah, exactly.
systems.
It doesn't really ruin that scene where she hacks into the lock through the breath thing until your second watch where you're like, wait a minute, she's an android.
Maybe she doesn't want to reveal that she's an android.
Except who would she reveal it to? No one.
I guess it's just to not reveal to the viewer that she's an android, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but if they wanted to do that, they could have just shown the door opening with her walking through. They wouldn't have even needed to show her hacking it. There was somebody explicitly said we need to show her with a ring of breath sticks.
Yeah.
And that's a decision I disagree with.
Well, I don't. I thought it was just a decent addition, I guess. Anyway, they need to get back to their ship before the ship destroys itself.
Well, they want to get off the ship because now it's revealed. Okay, this was my biggest problem with the movie, to be honest, was that the ship, for whatever reason, if there's a problem on the ship, auto defaults to go back to Earth. That doesn't make sense to me. The reasons they give for it in this movie don't make sense to me. I don't see any universe in which any logical engineer would program that into the system.
I mean, it's a movie. It's also because they need to play up the stakes. Like, yeah, the aliens are going to get to Earth, which has never really been a concern until now.
I mean, yes, but the thing about that is that they could have just made the ship's final destination Earth to begin with, and they wouldn't have needed the plot point that it had autopiloted itself back to Earth, right?
I mean, oh well, yeah, I guess, but oh well.
It's just a decision that I think is dumb.
Garbage.
I just think it's trash.
I didn't mind it, honestly.
I mean, yeah, I know you don't mind it.
Yeah.
I think it's dumb.
I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Yeah. Oh well, I guess. Yeah. What else could you?
I think
say
all of
about
my
it?
complaints to this movie come down to the fact that they made everything way more convoluted than it needed to be. Like they made it autopilot back to Earth instead of just making the final destination Earth.
I guess, yeah. I mean, because
they hacked into the door through the breath things instead of just showing the door opening from the inside. It's like a lot of things that they added extra things to things. They added extra things to the scenes to make them longer, but it didn't add to the movie to me. It made it worse.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously didn't make it worse at all to me, but I don't know if it added anything. I just like movies with a lot of stuff in them. So this had a lot of stuff. But I mean, I can kind of see where you're coming from, because this felt a lot like they were trying to retread Alien 1 and maybe recapture that Alien 1 magic. Because there were a lot of similar things, like the android reveal, which I thought was pretty cool. And I liked all the callbacks and stuff that was actually similar to Alien 1, because, well, in my mind, that's what a sequel should be, like sort of almost a retread, but like the same ideas and concepts and maybe some of the same themes, although this one kind of didn't do that at all as the original, but done in maybe a slightly different way, or something that expands on the aliens, like now they can swim and stuff. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie. But yeah, that's why this felt like a more proper sequel than Aliens to me, where they just went a completely different direction.
Yeah, but see, I don't think sequels should retread the ground of the first movie. I think that's how to make a bad sequel 101.
Yeah, and that's why you didn't like this and I did.
It's also why I didn't like Alien 3. It's Alien 3.
I mean, you liked episode 7, and that was just episode 4 again.
Except it wasn't really.
kind of was.
All of those similarities that people draw are like kind of forced, except for the fact that the Star Killer is just the Death Star. Yeah, I didn't like that.
And the kid from Tatooine who has a mysterious
she's not on
past,
Tatooine.
or Desert Planet, whatever it is. Kid from Desert Planet with a mysterious past gets thrown into this war.
Okay, see, but you overgeneralize it. See, the thing about Luke is that he doesn't really have a mysterious past until Episode 5. He's just a guy who lives with Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen, and then Obi-Wan's like, yeah, I knew your father. You should come with me to go fight with the rebellion.
Well, not a mysterious past, but maybe a past that's connected to what's going on, I guess you can say.
Yeah, but there's no indication that Rey's past is connected to anything. There's no connection to that Luke.
No, there is in Episode 4 because Obi-Wan tells him that Vader killed his dad.
Okay, so Vader killed his dad, but that doesn't mean Luke's got a connection to what's going on now.
No, it does, because because his dad was supposedly a pilot in the Clone Wars, killed by Vader, this general guy. Not general, he's actually not a general.
It's like all the similarities between Episode 4 and 7 people have drawn are like overgeneralizations of things, which you can do with any movie.
I don't think so. I honestly don't think so.
I do.
Nah. Yeah. Even when you look at the prequel trilogy for Star Wars, a lot of the things that I liked about that were the throwbacks to 4, 5, and 6 and the similarities between them.
Anyway. I just don't think sequels should retread previous ground. I think that's a bad sequel. Because I've already seen that movie. Why would I want to see it again? I could just go watch the first one kind of thing.
I mean, it's if it's an expansion sort of the first one, not something that goes a completely different direction like Aliens did.
But Aliens didn't really go a completely different direction. This is the same conversation we had in the last episode. But I mean, it went somewhere new with it, but I don't think it was like completely out of left field. I felt like it was what would have happened next.
I didn't feel like it tied enough into Alien until the end, where they kind of do something new with the alien concept.
See, I think it did, though, because Ripley, now she fought one alien, now she's got to fight multiple aliens. That's like what you would expect from an escalation from a sequel.
Yeah, but I want more alien powers, like their swimming ability, and they added the Queen, which was really cool, and I liked that they did the Queen at the end of this one, too.
I didn't. I thought that was the worst part of this movie.
I thought something we're almost there, actually, because the rest is just running through really bad-looking corridors.
Yeah, the sets for this movie were garbage. The only good set was the cloning base set when Ripley went to kill all the other clones.
At least they were better than Alien 3, which is literally just completely blank corridors. At least they tried to make them semi-sci-fi.
I don't know if they tried. Well, it didn't look like they tried.
I mean, maybe they didn't try, but at least they succeeded in making them, whether they tried or not, I think they succeeded in making them look vaguely sci-fi with a lot of wires and stuff. Whereas Alien 3 was completely blank stone corridors.
I'm going to disagree with you there. Alien 3 was concrete corridors.
Whatever. Okay. Well.
So they make it to the ship, but Ripley gets taken by an alien and not killed for some reason. Once again, no readily apparent reason.
They have to go underwater. This is where the scene where you get the swimming aliens who are coming after them, and they
apparently their guns work underwater. That was the most unbelievable thing in the movie.
It's like way in the future.
But they were firing bullets.
It's like way in the future.
Bullets.
It's a science fantasy movie, honestly. It's not like hard sci-fi. But
I know, I was joking.
I like the part where they finally make it out of the water and they're in the alien nest and they're like, oh shoot, it was a trap.
Yeah, well, so they blow up the aliens. He bounces a thing off the ceiling. And then there's an alien that grabs onto them while they're climbing. Oh yeah, android lady gets shot, but she comes back later. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Because they've had this guy that they've rescued from the ship, one of the scientists, and he's turned on them because he wants to escape, because screw them, apparently. And there was another dumb decision made here. So they kill the alien, but the alien's like grabbed onto the one guy. There was a guy carrying the cripple, I guess. It's kind of a derogatory term, but...
Is it? I don't think... Isn't cripple actually the proper term? Whereas like a gimp...
I think disabled is the proper term.
Disabled.
So...
All right, never mind then.
But he's carrying him, and they like flip around when they're on the ladder, so the disabled person's holding the ladder now with the other guy, and the guy's foot is being held onto the alien. Now he makes the brilliant, just absolutely brilliant decision Instead of, asking the other guy to just climb down the ladder so he can kick the alien off, which is what I would have done, and what probably most people would have done, or just trying to kick the alien off with his other foot, also something he could have done. He decides to just unclip himself and commits suicide. Of all the characters in the movie that made dumb decisions, that was by far the dumbest.
Well, he did it.
I don't think you can defend that as not being a dumb decision.
I mean, I didn't really think about it when he did it, and I don't really care in the long run, so...
I mean, whether you care or not, you can still agree or disagree that it was a dumb decision.
I don't know. I mean, I might have done the same thing. Even if I thought about kicking the alien off, I might have still done it.
But wouldn't you... Okay, if you had done the same thing, wouldn't you have at least tried kicking the alien off? Because he didn't even try.
No, see, the thing that I'm saying is, I would have thought about all these better options, right? Those things would have come to me in a split second.
And wouldn't you have tried them?
I would have chosen, like, option E or whatever this is.
This is like option Z.
Yeah, exactly. I would have chosen option Z. But I actually really liked this part where he's climbing the ladder, because it's like, it exemplifies the epitome of teamwork.
Yeah. Until a moment where he kills himself.
The guy's climbing the ladder and the other guy's gunning him, the aliens down, and it was just like, awesome. Part was pretty cool.
Anyway, okay, they run through some corridors. We can just skip all that because it's not interesting until we get to the android reveal where she comes back and they're like, how are you alive? And she's like, I'm an android.
Yeah, see, that's a lot better than like aliens who's like, oh, looks like Bishop's an android.
Yeah, but so...
Well, they actually used that to play into Ripley's character, so it wasn't that bad, but this is better.
I don't think this is better. I think they're all kind of on the equal playing field because I think all the reveals were done differently because in the first one it's revealed that it turns out Ash is an android and that's why he's been working against them the whole time. He's like actually this like secondary antagonist almost. In the second one, the reveal is that not all androids are evil and then it's like it plays into Ripley's character where she's got to learn that.
Yeah.
And in this one it's like, oh, you think she's dead, but actually she comes back and she's the one who has to hack into the system so they can get to the ship. So it's like they've progressed to getting more on the good side, I guess, throughout the movies, like the protagonist side, I mean.
But I like them more as a reveal like they did in this one and Alien rather than like at the beginning, like, look at Bishop, he's an android. I mean, I get how that plays into Ripley's character, but doesn't mean I have to like it.
Yeah, but also I don't think they were going for a huge, like...
Yeah, doesn't mean I have to like that they weren't going for that.
Reveal in Aliens.
Kind of wish they went for that.
I kind of wish they didn't. It would have just been retreading the first movie once again.
Which is why I wish they did it. Anyway, she hacks into the thing. This is where we get the religious symbolism. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh god, there's probably a lot of other Christian symbolism that I missed, isn't there? I didn't go back and watch any parts of the movie, obviously. But
if you want Christian symbolism, Prometheus and Covenant, right up your alley.
I mean, we're going to watch them eventually, so...
And yeah, eventually they make it to the ship, but Ripley gets taken by one of the aliens and not killed immediately for no reason.
Well, I think it's because they think she's their mom. That's the whole thing that's they've been building up for this entire thing, is that she's the alien mother. That's
actually another plot hole that I had a question about, which is where they got all those alien eggs that they impregnated all those cryo-sleeping people with.
Yeah,
because the really alien queen has a womb, so she doesn't lay eggs. So where did they get the eggs?
We skipped the part where Ripley torches her previous failed clones.
We mentioned it. I mentioned it when I talked about that being the only good set in the movie.
Even that I didn't think was that far above everything else. I mean,
it wasn't.
It looked kind of cool, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't on that much of a.
Yeah, see, it's the being the best set doesn't make it a good set. Just makes it the best.
Right.
Anyway, she finds out the queen has a womb that gives birth to a weird human-alien hybrid thing, which is...
like the worst decision in the Alien franchise?
Yes.
Because not only does it look like garbage, the costume that they made for it actually sucks.
It looks disgusting. Like, as a creature, it looks disgusting.
It doesn't look as disgusting, or doesn't look as creepy and off-putting as the actual original Alien, in my opinion.
See, I disagree.
It looks dumb.
I disagree, probably because I find different things off-putting in alien creatures. I find the hybrid off-putting because I really don't like really human organs and blood and sinew and that kind of stuff. So the alien-human hybrid really turned me off, whereas the regular alien, like, I don't... It's not that creepy to me because it's just a black alien.
I mean, all right, sure, but
going to depend on what you
I
find
guess.
off-putting.
Yeah. I mean, I still think the costume kind of sucked, though.
I mean, yeah. Well, also that also might partially be because Jean-Pierre Jeunet, esteemed director, was like, okay, I think the alien human hybrid should have a mix of both human genitalia. So the costume actually has both genitalia, and then Fox saw the footage and was like, no! So they CG'd it out.
I didn't know that.
So. Also, the scientist is there. He's been kept alive for, once again, no reason.
Well, I don't think it's... I think you're not underselling, but I think you're... Maybe not even misinterpreting, but I think you're...
No, I think out of all the ones that I've said that about, I think the scientist surviving is the one that makes the least sense.
Well, I think he was about to die, but he just was in the process of dying.
But all the other...
He
No,
dies.
but see, in this movie, they explicitly show the aliens killing everybody immediately. So it doesn't make sense for the scientist to be there.
Maybe they kill some of them and don't kill the scientist.
But why, though?
I don't know why. I didn't write the movie, but, like, makes sense.
It doesn't make sense, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, to me, it makes sense. Anyway, he's there, and he's like, this is it, Ripley.
Actually, I mean, I know why he exists. I know why he's there from a writing standpoint, and it's to explain explain what's happening right now.
To explain the garbage alien queen prop thing. I actually like the concept of the alien queen being more human because she came out of the Ripley clone and being actually pregnant in the sense that, like, a mammal is pregnant. That was kind of a cool plot point to me. Just the way that they achieved it with the special effects looked pretty bad.
I have no comment. Anyway, alien. Ripley 8 is pretty scared of this new alien, so she bolts. Also, it kills the scientist now that the scientist's plot dumping job is finished.
His purpose has been achieved.
She makes it back to the ship. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention they picked up someone who's been impregnated with an alien, and he uses the alien bursting out of his chest to kill the...
I kind of liked this guy. Throughout the whole thing, they were like, we should just kill him. We're going to kill you. And he's like, nope. And he's like, oh, God, it's coming. Nope, I'm fine.
There seems to be a bit of a dissonance between this movie and the first one, because in the first one, when John Hurt got impregnated, he was out. He was out. And then...
I mean, he was out?
Like, he couldn't do anything. They picked him up and he was unconscious on the table, and he was unconscious even when the facehugger died, and he was awake for maybe 2 hours, and then the chest burster burst out of him. Whereas in this movie, it seems like that guy is up and about for a solid, 7 hours.
I don't think it was... Was it 7 hours?
Oh, that's just a number I'm throwing out there.
They give a time on it, but I don't remember what it was.
It's 2 hours to impact to Earth, but then because... For plot purposes, there's not enough energy for the ship to just self-destruct immediately, so she decides to accelerate the ship to crash land on Earth instead of properly land. So it cuts down to 40 minutes.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, maybe different people react to the alien differently. Am I just defending and damage controlling this decision?
Yes,
yeah,
you are.
I am. But
you're David Finchering it, I think is the proper term here.
But maybe.
Anyway, it ends the same way that the first Alien does, which is that the alien gets blown out of the airlock.
Yeah, except this time they really try and make you feel for the alien, like it's an alien human thing.
I didn't feel anything.
No, I didn't either. I hated this part of the movie because they do that Walt Disney thing, which Walt Disney said this, or maybe he actually just stole it from someone else. Actually,
which wouldn't be surprising.
I know he stole it from someone else because he didn't come up with the concept, but I'm wondering if he even really said the quote. Is what I'm trying to say, is that if you want to create something that people don't feel for as much, don't give it eyes, and if you want to create something that people can sympathize with and feel for, give it eyes. So this alien-human hybrid has eyes, and you're really supposed to feel for it when you look into its sad eyes and realize that it's just like you. But I think Aliens did this a lot better with the alien queen just trying to protect her babies. And here it kind of sucks.
I mean, I think Aliens did pretty much everything better than this movie. So, I agree. I think it did it better.
It did the phallic imagery way better than this movie. Part where Ripley's loading the gun and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, because Fox cut all the genitalia, literally cut it all off the alien human hybrid thing. And then they land on Earth, and the spaceship explodes, and once again the alien race is dead, although if this had made money, Fox would have made another movie where they're on Earth. And I think Joss Whedon actually wrote a script where the aliens were on Earth with Ripley and the crew, and that was the script where Sigourney Weaver went, "Nah, I think we're good." That was the point where she stopped. Not the dog alien prison of all males. Not the clone reviving her 200 years after. No. Earth. Earth was what pushed her over the edge.
Anyway, speaking of Joss Whedon, a lot of these characters are just discount Firefly. Well, this is pre-Firefly, but still.
Yeah, so it's more like Firefly is better than this.
They're more like proto-Firefly characters where Joss Whedon was like, I'm going to write these characters into this franchise, and then I'm going to go on and do something different with them later in my own franchise. Firefly is one of the most overrated TV series, though, in my opinion. I'm glad it never got that second season.
That's a hot take. I'm just going to say that Keon's opinions don't endorse the opinions of the entire podcast.
Have you even seen Firefly?
I've seen one episode, and I've seen Serenity. That's why I'm saying your opinion doesn't represent this podcast, because I don't think I can fully form an opinion on Firefly like that.
No, you can't. I hate when people try and form an opinion without having watched something. I also what I hate even more is when people read about something and then try and form an opinion of it. Or what's even worse is when they read or watch a dumb, quote-unquote, analysis of it and then form their own opinion.
Well, I think I can say that the episode I watched I liked and thought was pretty good. I mean,
did you watch the first episode?
Yeah.
I don't even remember the first episode.
Okay. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, so Alien Resurrection. Clearly we have very divergent ideas on this movie. And I actually think you're in the minority on this, Keon. I think most people don't like this movie.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So
I don't know if I'd watch it again, but I'd rather rewatch this than Alien 3. Well, it depends, because I would rather rewatch Alien 3 for the unintentional comedy factor.
Yeah, that's why I would watch Alien 3. If you told me I had to watch either Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection, I would snap the disc and use the shards to slit my wrists. But anyway.
See, but that's like option Z. You got to consider the other options, like snapping the discs and using them to kill the person who's forcing you to watch these movies.
Yeah, but that wouldn't end it permanently. There might be someone else who would come along. Maybe he's working for Fox.
No, maybe your punishment for murder would be watching the Alien franchise.
Maybe I gotta John Wick this and just take down all of Fox to make sure no one comes to make me watch the movies.
You know what would make the Alien franchise better, Keanu?
No, it actually would. It
actually would.
You know what else would make the Alien franchise better is if they actually got a director who
cared. No, I don't even think cared, because I think the directors for these movies actually really cared. They just made some really questionable decisions.
Okay,
and had their heads
a director
too far stuck up their own.
A director who knows how to work on a small budget, because I think I feel like David Fincher and Jean-Pierre Jeunet were trying to shoot big budget things on low budget, which is why the sets don't look that great, is because, you know, like Ridley Scott shot the first movie on a pretty low budget, but the set looks pretty good because he knew how to work with it. And I think David Fincher and Jean-Pierre Jeunet didn't know how to work with a low budget like that.
Probably.
So, but at least we can finally put... I was going to say we can finally put the Alien franchise to rest, but once that third prequel movie comes out, that's no longer true, so...
But hopefully those will be enjoyable, I guess.
I enjoy the first two movies, but as this podcast has shown, that doesn't correlate to you enjoying them. So that's just fantastic. Next month, we watch yet another franchise that I didn't like, that Keon did like. So look forward to that. You can email us at thedoctor@decorativevegetable.com. Questions, comments, concerns, angry rants, love letters. We actually did get an email about the Alien franchise yesterday, the day before we recorded this podcast episode. He's sliding in there the nick of time. I think it actually arrived like exactly 24 hours ago, so we'll run it through the text-to-speech, as is tradition now, which we started on Trust Your Doctor, and
we're extending here, I guess.
This is partially because I don't think we want to read all these emails.
This one's pretty long.
This one's pretty long, so cue the text-to-speech.
Hey guys, listen to the episode about the first 3 Alien movies. I agree that the naming scheme does suck, especially when Prometheus is the only one without Alien in the title. A couple of weeks ago, I was on a long flight and the video selections actually included the first 3 Alien movies. I considered watching them but, instead, opted to sleep and listen to prog rock instead. However, I went to the Sussex Sci-Fi and Horror Society's screening of Alien, and while I did not find it that scary on this viewing, I do agree that the visuals have aged well. I actually find the android blood more disgusting than the human blood in these movies. I really do hope that a prequel bridging the gap between Covenant and Alien gets made, and that way, you could review those as a prequel trilogy. I really enjoyed Covenant as a thrill ride, but think it failed as a sequel to Prometheus. Despite the flaws of that first prequel, I enjoyed it and was really looking forward to what the sequel hook seemed to promise in terms of learning more about the engineers. I guess backlash might have influenced the direction of Covenant, which is a shame because the way that they waste Elizabeth Shaw, not to be confused with Liz Shaw from Doctor Who. As such, when I watched Covenant, it felt like it would have been a better story had there been another movie between these 2 prequels. I had mixed feelings about Blomkamp working on an Alien 5 that might be ignored Alien 3 and Resurrection, which I guess would have made it a different Alien 3 rather than 5. On one hand, those were the weaker sequels. On the other hand, I'm a bit of a stickler when it comes to continuity, and it sounds like this would have done the ignore route that Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Terminator movies have done. A bit annoying. But with the movie no longer happening, I still wish it could have been made so I could watch it. I love Blomkamp's other movies, District 9, Elysium, and Chap Pie. Those movies feel similar in some ways. Perhaps you might review them as a loose trilogy? Anyway, enough of me talking. Keep up the commentaries. Cheers. Steven Schindler.
So how'd you like that text-to-speech? Okay.
So how did you like that email? I think we'll do a brief response to the email, which I assume the emailee Steven was expecting.
Expecting a response and not just a text-to-speech reading of his email.
He's like, damn it, I could have just done that myself. Yeah, in regards to the naming scheme, I still think it sucks. Still think that...
Keeps it interesting, though. You never know what they're going to name the next one.
I think a consistent naming scheme would have benefited this franchise at least marginally, so...
I mean, probably it would probably help if people knew what they were watching.
Or,
they wouldn't... You wouldn't even know that's necessarily part of the Alien franchise.
So that's the thing. I was going to say, Alien Covenant necessarily didn't need to be marketed as Alien Covenant. I think Covenant would have actually benefited from being marketed as a Prometheus sequel rather than an Alien prequel, because it is more of a Prometheus movie than an Alien movie. And I think actually the bad naming scheme actually did hurt Alien Covenant because of that. So, to each their own. Yeah, I actually, speaking of Covenant, I really do hope that 3rd movie gets made, if only because I want to see what David's gonna do with the whole ship full of colonists.
Maybe all the continuity errors and things that don't line up with Alien 1 are just part of the master plan and will be explained in a way that everyone loves in the 3rd one, if that ever gets made. Although maybe that's just wishful thinking.
See, the only way I can see that working is if they explain something that would be a massive spoiler for those 2 movies.
Or I don't, because I actually kind of care.
I'm not going to.
For some reason, I kind of care.
I'm not going to. Personally, though, what I'm saying is I can only see one way that they can make that all work, in my opinion.
Maybe there are other ways, and you'll just be completely blown away when they do it.
If it works, probably will be, but my optimism levels are at an all-time low. And I think that hits the main points of the email. Let's see. He's a bit of a stickler when it comes to continuity. I mean, I like continuity, but at the same time, whatever.
Yeah, I guess. I wonder why they had all 3 Alien movies on a flight. That was the biggest mystery of this email.
Yeah, typically every flight I go on has recent movies, although I can see the first Alien being on a flight. Like when I went to South Africa almost a year ago now, they had a modern section, which was recent movies, and they had like a quote-unquote classics, which was all like 60s, 70s, and 80s movies. So I could see maybe one of the Alien movies being in there, but all three of them is the most baffling. So, yeah. Also, he finds the android blood more disgusting than the human blood. Android blood was milk, wasn't it? Not regular milk, it was condensed milk, I think.
I don't... It sounds familiar. I don't remember, but I do remember discussing it.
When they hook Ash's head up, I think it was condensed milk. Anyway, so you can email us, like I said, at thedoctor@decorative.com if you want to be on the show. Have your 2 minutes of fame. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and YouTube, all at Triple Play. Leave a rating if you like the show.
Check us on Facebook, Trust Your Doctor. Like us on Facebook. Also check us out on Twitter at TYD Podcast, and follow us on Twitter. And next time we're watching the Star Wars prequel trilogy. But until then, the end.